$350,000 Rolls-Royce go back where you came from?" The venom in those letters was nothing compared to the icy dread that gripped me when I realized who was responsible. Margaret Reynolds, the tyrannical HOA president who'd ruled our upscale California neighborhood like her personal kingdom, stood there, her eyes blazing with contempt. She screamed that a 21-year-old like me with my background could only have stolen a car like that. Her hatred seared into me, a chilling reminder of the prejudice I'd fought my whole life. But what Margaret didn't know was that her own bigotry was about to unravel her carefully crafted empire. This isn't just a story of a vindictive neighbor. It's a tale of patience, cunning, and justice that turned a symbol of my success into her undoing. My name is Nathan Carter, and at 21 I'd achieved what many call the American dream. After 3 relentless years coding in my college dorm, I sold my software startup for $30 million to a major tech giant. My parents, who'd immigrated to America in their 20s, had sacrificed everything, working grueling jobs, navigating language barriers, and enduring skepticism to give me a shot at a better life. I watched them come home exhausted, yet they never complained, always reminding me that education and grit could open doors they never had. When I told them about the sale, my dad choked up, unable to speak, while my mom repeated, "We're so proud." Their pride meant more than the money ever could. With my newfound wealth, I bought a stunning house in Crestwood Estates, a pristine neighborhood with manicured lawns and an air of old money prestige. I also treated myself to a midnight blue Rolls-Royce Ghost, a nod to my hard work. The day I moved in was perfect, sunshining neighbors, waving, and a kind retiree, James O'Connor, welcoming me with a handshake. A software engineer and first-generation immigrant from Scotland, James seemed genuinely curious about my story. Good to see young talent thriving. He said, his smile warm. I felt like I'd found my place. But not everyone was so friendly as I unloaded boxes. I noticed a woman watching me from across the street in her late 50s, with impeccably styled auburn hair and designer sunglasses. Margaret Reynolds radiated suspicion. I waved, hoping to break the ice, but her lips tightened into a thin line. Later, as I parked my Rolls-Royce, she marched over her posture, screaming authority. "What are you doing here?" she demanded, her voice sharp, the word "you" dripping with disdain. I stayed calm, introducing myself as the new homeowner, but she scoffed, eyeing my car. "I suppose this belongs to the actual owner." The implication was clear. Someone like my young, from an immigrant family, called possibly belong here. I explained that both the house and car were mine, but she laughed dismissively. "We have standards here. Interesting to see who's moving in her heels." Clicked away, leaving a knot in my stomach. That night, I sat on my bare patio, the excitement of my new home tainted. I'd faced prejudice before, but I'd hoped my success would shield me in a place I'd earned. I was wrong. Within days, the harassment began. A violation notice from the HOA, signed by Margaret, claimed my Rolls-Royce violated community aesthetics and had to be geared. I checked the bylaws. Nothing but luxury cars and driveways. Neighbors parked Mercedes and Bentleys openly, but I was targeted. Margaret, I learned from James, was a widow who'd inherited wealth and ruled the HOA with an iron fist for 5 years. "She enforces standards," James said, rolling his eyes, meaning she keeps out anyone who doesn't fit her mold. I responded politely, citing the bylaws, but Margaret doubled down. 3 more violations arrived within a week. My trash cans were misplaced. My curtains were non-conforming. My lawn had excessive growth. It was absurd. Yard was professionally maintained, just like my neighbors. This wasn't about rules, it was personal. I began documenting everything. Photos, notices, timestamps, and installed security cameras, a choice that would soon prove crucial. I met David Harris, a retired black attorney on the HOA board, who invited me for coffee. "Margaret's got a pattern," he said, stirring his drink. She targets people who don't match her vision of Crestwood. He introduced me to Sarah Mitchell, a single mom and veteran who'd bought her home with a VA loan. Margaret made my life hell. Sarah confessed complaints about my kids' toys, my service dog, even my Christmas lights. It stopped only when David threatened legal action. Their stories confirmed my fears. Margaret wasn't just a nuisance. She was a bully wielding the HOA as a weapon. Tensions escalated when I hosted a small barbecue for college friends. We were 5 people grilling burgers, music low, when Margaret appeared at my gate, snapping photos like a detective. "This violates noise ordinances," she barked. Though the music was barely audible, she claimed our 3 parked cars broke HOA rules. Despite no congestion, my friends, uncomfortable under her glare, left early. I saw her photographing their license plates. As they drove off, the message was clear: my diverse friends weren't welcome. The final straw came when I overheard Margaret gossiping with a neighbor. "There's something off about him in that car," she whispered. "Young people like the how could they afford it unless they're up to no good?" The racism was blatant, her words, a knife to my chest. I didn't confront her, but that night I decided I wouldn't let her drive me out. I hired a housing discrimination lawyer, added hidden cameras, and recorded every interaction, ensuring compliance with California's consent laws. David's advice echoed: document everything, facts win. Margaret's aggression intensified. Neighbors who'd once waved now avoided me, swayed by her rumors of my shady wealth. Sarah confirmed Margaret was spreading tales of drug deals and late-night activities. One evening, I found a camera repositioned to face the sky. Footage showed Margaret tampering with it. She crossed into trespassing. I called David, who saw it as an opportunity. "She's slipping because you're not braking," he said. "Keep backing up that footage." Then Margaret went too far while on a video call. I heard my doorbell ring frantically. 2 police officers stood outside. Officer John Carter, a black man in his 30s, and Officer Ryan Hall, younger and skeptical. "We're investigating a stolen Rolls-Royce," Carter said. My stomach sank. Margaret had reported my car. I provided title insurance and purchase records. But Holt pressed, "That's an expensive car for your age." "What do you do?" I explained my startup sale, offering news articles, when Margaret appeared, feigning concern. "I've seen him driving that car late at night." She told the officers, "It's suspicious. He's not the type to own it." Her words stung, but I stayed calm, revealing my evidence of her camera tampering. Carter warned her about false reports, handing me his card call. "If the harassment continues." Moments after they left, I saw Margaret near my car. I rushed outside to find deep scratches and the hateful message spray painted across the hood: "Go back where you came from." The racism was undeniable. I called the police again. Carter and Holt returned, visibly disturbed. My main camera had been moved, but a hidden one captured Margaret's crime, keying the car, painting the message, her face clear in night vision. "I want to press charges," I said. Carter nodded. "We've been watching this, HOA. This is serious." The vandalism shook me. Sitting in my defaced car, I looked at a photo of my parents, me dad in his work uniform, my mom's tired but hopeful eyes. "You'll work twice as hard," my dad had said. Tears fell as I realized I was still fighting their battles, but I wiped them away. Resolved to fight back, an HOA meeting was announced, proposing vehicle regulations to ban ostentatious cars, clearly targeting me with David, James, and Sarah. I planned to counterstrike. David uncovered Margaret's past. A decade ago, as a real estate broker, she tried to cheat my parents into selling their land cheaply, claiming people like them didn't understand value. They'd refused, promising me a future to prove our worth. Margaret didn't know I was their son. James, tech-savvy, suggested an AI tool to analyze Margaret's coded language. I built an algorithm to flag discriminatory phrases, even veiled ones, turning her words into evidence. We installed advanced hidden cameras with night vision and audio predicting Margaret would strike again before the meeting. To bait her, I wash my Rolls-Royce in my driveway. It's gleam a challenge, Sarah texted. Margaret left an emergency HOA meeting, furious that night. My security app pinged footage, showed Margaret in dark clothing, scratching my car again, muttering, "Think you can flaunt that car? People like you don't belong here." Her slurs grew explicit, the AI flagging each one. I sent the footage to David, James, and Carter, who replied, "Do not confront her, proceed to the meeting." The HOA meeting was electric with tension. Margaret, in a tailored suit, pitched her regulations, citing my stolen car as a threat. I stood announcing I was live streaming and played the damning footage. The room gasped as Margaret's vandalism and slurs filled the screen, the AI highlighting her bias. I revealed her past attempt to swindle my parents. Tying her prejudice to a decades-long pattern, Margaret sputtered, accusing me of faking the video, but David presented complaints against her from other minority homeowners. As her composure cracked, Margaret stumbled, her wig slipping to reveal gray. Higher, a humiliating moment that broke the room's tension. Officers Carter and Hall entered, arresting her for vandalism, false reports, and potential hate crimes. Her mask fell completely as she screamed, "This foreigner doesn't belong." Her outburst, recorded by dozens of phones, sealed her fate. She was let out in handcuffs. Her reign over Crestwood shattered. David took charge, tabling the regulations and winning election. As HOA president, neighbors surrounded me, apologizing for their silence. An elderly couple shared how Margaret's harassment had nearly driven them out. "You gave us hope," they said. Carter confirmed. Margaret faced jail time, restitution, and hate crime charges. Her real estate license was revoked. Her house sold, her status obliterated. I turned my pain into purpose, founding a non-profit to mentor minority entrepreneurs, funded partly by remorseful Crestwood residents. My Rolls-Royce, once a target, now gleamed in my driveway, a symbol of resilience. Crestwood became the home I dreamed of, proving that standing against prejudice can transform a community. Margaret thought she could erase me, but my success, in her own words, became her undoing. Never let anyone's fear define your worth, and always, always protect your Rolls-Royce with cameras.